On this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast, moving forward, looking back. So welcome to this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast. My name is Shawn Yesner, owner and founder of Yesner Law, and I am joined in studio by your financial coach, George Corbello. George, how you doing?
I am in the holiday season and the spirit is good. Dude, I am doing well. Just ready for the holidays. We're kind of knee deep in the holidays right now, so just happy about the season. It's kind of cold in Florida, which is kind of weird, but then it's hot anyway though. So yeah, it kind of cold in the evenings for Florida people. Did I just say that?
If you don't want George to try to sing again on the show, patreon.com/crushingdebt. You can pay him not to sing on the show
singing again.
anymore.
We are singing again now.
So as this episode comes out, we'll be we'll be like on the 6th. No, we'll be on the 4th or 5th night of Hanukkah.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas will be coming. Do you have Christmas plans?
Eating and giving gifts. So yes, I think we're going to be and celebrating with family. I think
not receiving gifts.
Yeah, receiving. I get socks and T-shirts, brother. When you get to our age, we don't. The gifts aren't as plentiful.
I used to say to my wife, "Well, what did you get me with my money this year?"
Oh, she liked you.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was great. Now I can say that to the boys.
Don't say that.
I say that to the boys, and they're like, "But we used our allowance money." I'm like, "Who do you think gives you your allowance money?"
It's okay. It's okay, Dad.
I know. It's a thought that counts.
It's indeed. I agree.
It's the thought that counts. I've gotten some really good presents from them. So last week, we literally flipped from what we talked about last week. So last week we did some looking forward, but most of last week's episode was about looking back, looking at 2025 and what did we accomplish and what good things happened and blah, blah, blah. So what I thought we'd do is look forward now to 2026. So have you started setting some 2026 goals?
Well, personally, I'm not even going to lie to you and say I'm going to lose weight and we're going to do this more, and because that's the first thing that comes to mind, right? New Year's resolutions. So what are we looking this 26? New me, new you, new this, new that, whatever thing. There's some things personally that I like to, for me, sustain health would be really nice. Going into, dude, I'm going to be 49.
Wow.
49
You're
next year.
old.
I'm stupid old. Like, ugh. Boomer. But so I have that to look forward to from a personal. My kids, huge goals. My oldest is graduating from college. My youngest is graduating from high school. We'll be starting, college for her as well. So there's a lot of nice things to look forward to personally going into the new year. So, I don't know if that's accomplishments or goals, but like one of the goals is to kind of like stay healty, to be around for those things. That'll be nice.
Right.
But yes, losing weight. Yeah, I'm gonna play the norm. I'm gonna exercise more and lose weight, which I've already started. I'm starting in 2025, but I want to continue to do that in the because my scale seems to keep yelling at me every week, and it's like, dude, like really? No, like get off.
So as this episode comes out, as you're listening to this episode, I will just have turned 53.
Damn.
So, and what I was thinking is for 2026, we talk about resolutions, but in my mind, there's a difference between resolutions and goals.
Goals, right.
So resolutions, I think, are bigger picture. Resolutions are things you want to accomplish. So the resolution would be get more healthy.
Yeah.
But the goal would be, I'm going to go to the gym 2 times a week, 3 times a week. I'm going to go exercise, twice a week.
Yep.
I'm gonna eat. I'm only gonna eat out once a week. Something like that. That would be the goal. In my mind, the goal is something time driven.
Yes.
It's something specific. The resolutions are nice, and I kind of have the same kind of resolutions. Be more healthy.
Yeah.
Interact with the family. All those kinds of things. But when I'm starting to put together my goals, I think my goals are split between revenue goals and certain revenue drivers that I want to hit.
Of course.
Savings drivers.
Of course.
I would love, by the end of the year, I think one of my goals for 2026, by the end of the year, I want to be saving $1,000 a month.
Okay.
Right now it's $500 a month.
Not bad.
So I want to double my per month savings goal by the end of the year. So
for what? Why do it? Like, what's the end result of saving $1,000 a month?
Well, I still want to build up, so I haven't yet built up a 6-month cushion.
Okay.
If Yesner Law shut down, I would probably have I think about 2 months. I could operate for 2 months without income, and then I'd be in trouble.
That'd be in trouble. Okay.
So I want to get that number up to the 6-month cushion level
For the business.
For the business.
Gotcha.
And for myself personally.
Personally. Mm-hmm.
I want to get those numbers up. So that's one of my goals. One of my goals is to eliminate the remainder of my debt, and that might be a little easier given that some of the debt includes some of my son's surgery that I'm paying off over time.
Sure.
So that's one of my goals. And then I have, personal goals. I want to get off some of the medications that I'm on.
Right.
I want to stop, and I'm on the right path. We just lowered one of the dosages of one of my medicines.
Nice.
So we're on the right path. So those are some of my 2026 goals. What about you?
All right, so goals-wise then. So, yes, I do want to lose 10 pounds and keep it off. So, weight-wise, I'd like to be under 200. And I'm being specific now because when you say it out loud, you're like, oof, that's a. Again, I'm 5'11", so 200. You're like, oh, okay, it's okay, but it could be better. So I'm like, yeah.
Hey, the women love the dad bod.
Yeah,
I hear.
Well, that's what I heard. TikTok lies to me a lot about that, and I think that one is truly a lie, but that's okay. So I think 10 pounds is definitely a number, and throughout the year, I'm not looking like, by March I want to get it. It's like if I can, lose it and then maintain it for the year, that's going to be the thing. Exercise at least 3 times a week. That's what I wanted to make sure at least I have 3 times. I want to raise my steps, like my total steps for the day, from 11 to 12. So again, I want to do 12,000 steps a day.
Say you only take 11 steps a day. It's more than 11.
That's up the stairs. That's basically that. So yes,
it's more than 11 steps from that chair to your car in the parking lot. So you made it.
I'm doing something wrong, but no, 1,000. That's so that I'd like to be consistent. I've been doing between 10 and 11, so I just keep pushing. And a lot of that is just morning walk, evening walk, take the dogs for a walk, that kind of thing. So I think those are some of the health goals, right? And then business-wise, I always have I want the revenue to go up at least 25% per year. Like a slight goal. Is 25 too much? Everybody would be like 50, 100. Like I get that, but for me, if I can do 25% growth based off of growth in clients around that amount, and then growth in revenue, I think that'll be a nice. For me, that's growth every year.
And I think it needs to be something that pushes you a little bit.
Correct.
So if this year you had 27% growth, then I think 25 is too low.
Too low, correct.
But if you had 18% growth, then I think 25 is a good stretch.
Yeah, I think the numbers should end up around 20% growth from a revenue standpoint. So I'm looking to again, if I can, it's like that push. You're right. If the number's always higher, that means 1 or 2 clients more could get me to that point for that period of time. So I think that's what I've been looking at and looking for that. But I'd love to see more of my clients also achieve their goals, right? More of them saving, more of them getting out of debt. So I want to see those numbers. That's some of the goals that I set too, to say, like, see my clients see some of their success for me. So it's not just my, the business growing itself, but their results, seeing a little bit more coming from them as well.
Yeah. One thing that I always like to do, I read a book called I think it's called The One Word. I'll look up who wrote it. Mm-hmm. It's a really cool book, but what it does is it takes you through an exercise of picking one word that you will use to basically describe or manage your entire year. And so I did look back. So 2021, my one word was commit. 2022, my one word was focus.
Okay.
2023, my one word was appreciation. I was kind of proud of that one because appreciation in terms of I appreciate you as the host of the podcast.
Yeah.
I want the podcast and the law firm to appreciate in value.
Nice.
And so there were multiple meanings behind that one. I was kind of proud of that one.
That one's pretty good.
2024 was strength. Given what I was going through in 2024, that one seemed appropriate.
Yep.
This year, my theme was alignment. My one word was alignment. In other words, making sure everything personally, professionally, health-wise, business-wise, revenue-wise, savings-wise, making sure everything was aligned. Everything's in alignment. Not quite sure yet what my 2026 word is going to be. What I normally do is figure that out while I'm on my break. while
Right.
things are quiet, and I'm able to finish up any last-minute projects that were outstanding for the year and do some of my 2026 planning. That's typically when I'll do this exercise and pick
Very nice.
the 2026 word. But that's another exercise, and I write it down. You saw I write it down.
I saw that.
That way I can refer back to it during the year, remind myself of what my word is going to be for the year. So that's always been a very useful exercise for me as the years have gone on.
I like that. I already have the one word that keeps popping in my head, now that we've done this exercise for about 35 seconds.
Right.
For me, I think in 2026 is growth.
Okay.
I think for me, growth not only for the business, for myself, as a person, I'm always looking for opportunities to grow with knowledge, my networking, people who I bring in, so the growth in family and friends.
I don't know if growth jives with your goal to lose 10 pounds.
Well,
Gaining 10 pounds would be growth.
Growth in buying more jeans that are smaller in size. Maybe that could I say it like that? But no, yeah, definitely no growth in body weight. Yeah, so let's work there. But I think overall for me, growth. I'd seen my kids grow because again, next year's gonna be their next step, and
Next year's going to be a big year for them.
Yes, that's for me. And I mean, Chris and I already mentioned we're going to be like showers of crying, at the graduations because both graduations are around like a week apart. And then my sister, my nieces are graduating this year as well. So there's just so much like accomplishment that's coming from them. But of course, they're taking their next steps, a lot of growth that they need to do as young adults. So I think that's going to be my word. I'm going to write this down. My first word of the year is going to be growth, and we'll see how that kind of pans out as we go through the year. Love it.
Very, very nice. So what trends do you see in 2026?
We talked about trends in 2025 that made us miserable, and I think some of those are going to carry over, my friend.
Unfortunately, they don't. So wait, the trend doesn't stop on December 31?
I'm hoping it would lovely stop, but no, I think we're going to still get into, I think interest rates, that whole, hopefully it stabilizes, not this, will he, won't he, will it go up, will it go down? So I think interest rates is going to be a hot topic for next year. What does that mean in regards to mortgages, auto loans? What does that mean for credit cards? Do we think credit cards are going to go? I don't think credit cards are going to go down. I think that's, I think from an interest rate standpoint. So I think looking next year, stability is going to be key when it comes to inflation and it comes to interest rates. But unfortunately, I think inflation will still be a hot topic early in the year. We're hoping that it doesn't carry through the rest of the year as well. But I think those are going to be the two for me, the two hot topics that seem to be trends that will continue. But what we're looking for is a little bit more stability when it comes to the topics.
Well, and I think I hate to say this, we're not really a political show, but 2026 is not an election year. So
no, it's midterms, no?
It's midterms, but it's not like
that doesn't count.
It's not like the big presidential.
No.
So I maybe since it is midterms, maybe there is going to be a bigger push, a bigger focus on interest to try to shift over. Although ironically, I always tend to prefer my Congress and my president to be two different political parties. Mm-hmm. I tend to see
you want a little pushback and stuff.
When they fight, the economy does a little bit better. When it's when it's all the same party governing the executive branch and the legislative branch, they tend to push through some pretty goofy legislation. Yeah. So I like my president and my regardless of political party. When Biden was president, I liked to have a Republican Congress. Now that Trump is president, I want to have a Democrat Congress. Not because I care one way or the other over one political party.
Right.
Just I like when they fight. We seem to get more done from an economy perspective, from my perspective.
Yeah.
Hopefully the listeners don't jump all over me.
Oh, Shawn is out of touch.
He's a Republican. He's a Trumper.
Twitter or X is already blowing up.
Yeah, it already
Shawn,
is
who's this
up.
Shawn guy?
Who's this Shawn guy? I don't care. I don't care who the president is. I vote for who I think is the best candidate. But I like when my president and my Congress fight. I feel like more gets done that way.
I don't. And the choice word is fight, right? I think it's just more of
disagree
to push each other because it forces our opportunity to talk right? Because we forgot how to talk lately
One-
and negotiate, you know, part
Yeah.
of that too.
One of my mentors on the West Chase board of directors, on my HOA board of directors, one of my mentors is very, very often says, we can disagree without being disagreeable. And I love that quote.
Yeah.
We can disagree without being disagreeable. So
Keep that. That's another 2026 goal this year is to, you know, like have open conversations, guys, with at least 4 people
right.
who
Well-
don't agree with me.
Although, from a crushing debt perspective, that would be a good way to get out of buying certain family members' presents. Just get into a political debate with them, and then you won't have to spend the money on presents.
Oh, this guy. Hey, you're thinking in the right direction with some folks. They're like, you know what? I didn't like Uncle Harry. You're right on that guy. Housing market is going to be, you know, obviously I think, you know, we're going to have more inventory. I
Right.
believe next year. If the interest rates go lower, will that have a little bit more balance in regards to, you know,
Maybe.
buying houses or selling houses next year?
Well, and it's also the law of unintended consequences. So there were things put in place in the last couple of years to help the condo market, especially after
Sure.
the Surfside disaster.
Yep.
But the unintended consequence of that is that condos are getting really, really hard to buy and sell because people don't want to, banks don't want to loan in a condo association where there's going to be a lot of reserves. People don't want to buy in a condo or live in a condo association where they're going to get hit with special assessments and reserves. I think the condo market's going to see a shift to more short sales because people just can't afford to pay some of the prices. Now, I get why these laws were put in place in Florida because we want to keep the associations and the buildings and all that kind of stuff safe. But what I'm starting to see is what I am seeing is that it's really difficult to sell condos right now in Florida.
Yeah, I can see. So do you see a shift in how that's like the purchasing or how they manage that?
I don't know, although it's interesting. I did see an article come out. There's a legislator down in Miami that's introduced some legislation to change the Homeowner Association laws. Now, the HOA laws and the condo laws are different. They're different statutory sections, different chapters. But I know there's a legislator in Miami, and I don't know if this thing has legs or not, but there's a legislator in Miami who's introduced a bill to change some of the ways the HOA is governed.
Okay.
And in maybe making it easier to dissolve the HOA, getting rid of some of the pre-suit mediation requirements in HOA. So if you have a dispute with your HOA that's unrelated to the payment of assessments, there has to be a mediation before there can be a lawsuit. You have to try to resolve it with the HOA before you can sue. This legislator down in Miami wants to take some of those provisions out of the HOA law. Again, I don't know what kind of legs this thing has, but HOAs and condos probably one of the things coming down the pipeline in 2026.
Interesting. I think will that turn into a conversation of, you know, are people staying put within their condo because they have no choice? You know, can they sell it? Can they buy it? You know, will interest rates influence that going into the new year? Or is it just more of like, you know, it doesn't matter. People just don't. The appeal of a condo is what loses its luster going into the new year.
I think it's going to depend on the interest rate itself. I mean, if you're living in a condo building or an HOA and you happen to get a loan 2, 3, 4 years ago where your interest rate's 2-3%, then I would say keep it and rent it out.
Yeah, rent it out.
Assuming the community rules allow you to rent it out.
That's the other thing.
Because there are some communities, my home community is going through a potential change to the rules right now to say you cannot rent your home until you've owned it or lived in it for a year. And a lot of associations say that.
Right.
A lot of associations say we can't have more than X% of the homes in this community be rentals. Once we hit 10% of the communities are rentals, no one else is allowed to rent. So aside from those types of provisions, if your loan is low enough, rent it out.
Gotcha.
Rent it out, make the cash flow if you can't afford to sell it. So that could be one of the things coming down the pipeline. Or like I said, if your interest rate is higher, if you're in a community where the rules don't allow you to rent out your home, then yeah, you're either going to have to sell it or do a short sale of it.
Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, it's funny how you think it's easy, right? Oh, it's an investment. You have the side, not the second home or the rental property, and yet it's not as easy especially if you go into it not knowing all that information to be able to kind of like, oh, I didn't know I couldn't rent in this whole neighborhood. So that's interesting that, again, read the fine print before you sign it.
Read the fine print before you buy the home.
That too.
That's I've had a lot of people get in trouble there. I think there's stuff coming down the pipeline still on student loans.
Yes.
That's going to continue to get tweaked as things progress.
I think people, if they're paying their student loans, because I think there's been a little bit this year of we're forced, people are forced to start paying their loans again. So I think hopefully that stabilizes and normalizes where it's like, yeah, everybody's paying their student loans, not happy about it.
No.
But I think there's no other choice, because I don't think you want your wages garnished if you get too far behind within paying your.
Although I am counting down the days, because my recollection is that my student loans will be paid off when I am 55.
Okay.
So as this episode comes out, I'll be 53, which means
Almost
I've
there.
got 2 years left on my student loans.
Almost there.
My student loans will be paid off just in time to borrow for my son to go to college.
I love it. Yeah, welcome to America, baby.
Yeah, and that's also one of the other things coming up in 2026. We start bar mitzvah preparation for my younger son. His bar mitzvah's in 2027. And then at the end of 2026, I got to start teaching my then-to-be 15-year-old how to drive.
Nice driving. I remember those days. And, let's just say your insurance will love you.
Yeah, my insurance
at that
company's
point.
going to love me. Hopefully, Rich Fika, if you're listening, turn this part off.
If you're listening, you better be listening.
You better be listening, but if you are, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't think my son's ever going to drive until he's totally on his own.
Credit card, obviously, consumer debt is going to be another big topic. I think people are still living off of credit cards, to supplement some of the increase costs. So I think we're going to see. I don't want to say like a reckoning, but you're going to have some kind of accountability or something to pay some of this stuff back.
So I had a client. We literally filed his bankruptcy 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he emailed me yesterday saying, "When can I get a new credit card?" I'm like, dude, that's how
That's
we
got
got
you in
into
trouble
this
already.
mess in the first place.
Mhm.
I mean, I get it. Some people need credit cards
Yes.
to survive. Some people need just to play the cash flow game.
Sure.
I don't have the money now. I'll have the money next week, so let me put it on a card and pay it off next week. And again, I'm not bashing people. There's no
Nope.
judgment here, but be careful about acquiring debt, because that's how you're going to dig yourself into a deeper hole if you're already there.
And I agree. I think for those folks who just worked with Shawn, I would say, talk to a financial coach who can really help you change the mindset. I think 2026, it's all about mindset shifts and habits, to kind of save more. You can't be like this superstar here where he's saving $1,000 a month. If you don't have the discipline and the habit in place to be able to do that. So,
do you know a financial coach I can refer them to?
I think I might know one. I'll let you know after the show. I'll let you
Okay.
know one after the show.
Sounds good.
2026. AI is everywhere, my friend. So AI and personal finances. I think it's already started with some of the stuff, but AI in business, I think we're going to see that too.
Little known fact, we are not sitting here talking to each other right now. These are two AI bots doing this entire podcast recording.
You know what's funny? I think we probably could do that as an experiment and see what the results would be.
We probably
Let's
could.
go.
No, I think AI, the issue with AI, it's interesting because there are some people that use it for productivity purposes.
Sure.
I use it for productivity purposes. I just downloaded, they're not a sponsor of the show, but I downloaded a program called Fixer.
Mm-hmm.
And Fixer is an AI that helps me manage my emails.
Mm-hmm.
It drafts responses. It learns my voice. And so when I first implemented Fixer, some of the emails I had to do a lot of editing before I would respond.
Right.
Now that it's gotten to learn my writing style, my voice, my tenor, my tone, I don't do as much editing. My computer on Monday, my computer didn't work. The power cord didn't work. I had to order a new power cord. It didn't come in until Tuesday afternoon. So all day Monday and most of Tuesday, I had no access to my emails or my office
Sure.
other than from my cell phone, which just wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
When I booted up my computer Wednesday morning, I had 178 emails. By the end of the day Wednesday, that had dipped into the 40s. So not only did I knock out 130 emails, but that also came with other emails that had come in during the day. And this program just helped me blast through a whole bunch of emails, and it saved me a whole bunch of time. That's the good news of AI. The bad news of AI, anybody who's had to call Yes or Law in the last month or so, we did implement an AI telephone receptionist. I think I was partly to blame. I don't think we trained the thing well, but it was an experiment that we decided to stop. So now when you call the office, there is no more AI robot. Maybe I'll get one again in the future. Yeah. Her name was Grace.
Nice.
So,
no Grace, but it was Grace. Okay.
Grace has been fired.
Grace.
So that's the. But again, I don't want to say
pull the
anything.
plug?
Yeah, I pulled Grace's plug. I don't want to say anything bad about the company that gave me
nothing like that.
And I would still refer the guy. He's a great guy. He knows a lot. It just, for some reason, it wasn't a good fit for how my office is set up. So maybe we change the office setup and we try again. I think where a lot of people don't understand AI is they use it as Google.
Yes.
And I think that's where, you could. I mean, here's the thing. You could use it as Google, just to kind of like, hey, do the research on, the houses in the neighborhood to blah 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 blah. You can do that. But if you're starting to kind of like, I need AI to be more productive for my business, it doesn't know you or the business other than whatever may be available on the internet, right? Mm-hmm. And whatever you tell it. So I think the one thing that if you're going to use AI within your business or personal, you have to give it your voice. You have to have it understand who you are. How would you talk? Your situations, things like that, so that it can learn, like what kind of feelings you have in responses. What would you respond? Are you humorous? Things like that. I had a potential client email me their situation, and I responded back, here's what I think under the law, and I think we may have a challenge here, we may have a challenge there. The client emails me back with, well, my cousin, my friend, my whatever, did some research and found these cases, and these cases stand for the proposition of XYZ.
Sure.
And she sent me the case names and the case citations. Mm-hmm. And so I decided, well, let me look up and read these cases for myself, make sure that the client is telling me that the cases say what we think they say.
Sure.
So I put the first case cite in, and it doesn't match the case name that comes up in my. And there's two search engines that I use. One is Google Scholar will show you case law, and then the Florida Bar has a free legal research database.
Okay.
So plugged it into both of them, came back with a different case than the case name that the potential client or client had given me. Mm-hmm. So when I typed in the case name, it popped up. It was when you do a legal case cite, it's the book and then the page number. And so the page number was 2 digits off. And so I figured, okay, fine. It's probably a typo by the person that sent me the case law. When I looked up the other 2 cases, I could not find them. I did a Google Scholar search. I did a fast case search through the Florida Bar. I did a general Google search. And what I didn't do is plug these cases into AI.
Sure.
But I did all the searches I knew how to do. Neither of the other 2 cases came up by case name or by case citation. And so now I wonder, the person that gave my client the research on the case law that applied might have done it through AI, which didn't properly cite the cases. So these are not real cases.
Right.
Now, I don't know that for sure. I've
have to
dug a little bit into it, and maybe they're going to say, well, there's a typo here or a misspelling there or whatever.
Other problems when you do it that way, but yes.
But you got to be careful with AI, because as good as it is, it's not perfect.
I agree. And I think it does have those disclaimers when it comes to, information is maybe not as clear. Make sure you read it, make sure it's cited. So again, if it has a claim on it, it should, in your prompt, you always can ask, give me citations, give me, where did you get this information from? so that it's not something that puts you in a position where you're like, oh yeah, that doesn't make sense. Like why when did pigs start flying? It's like that's a good point. But I think AI is not going away. I think we as a society, we need to learn how to use it, to have that benefit for us, whether it's personal or business. But I don't think it's going to replace the human touch, right?
No.
That human connection that you can make.
I think where I'm enjoying learning about AI, and I've been diving into it, I wouldn't say deep diving yet. That'll probably be a 2026 thing, is to deep dive into AI. But my knowledge of AI is that you use it for the time it can save you. For example, with emails, it's cut my email processing time by half or more.
Automation. Yep.
So if I can use AI, and what I'm understanding about AI is that it's the prompts you put in. So again, garbage in, garbage out.
Correct.
So what prompts are you giving the AI? I'll admit we've used AI from time to time when we're trying to think about what we do want to talk about on the show. Now, we don't verbatim read what the AI generates us.
I mean, you talk for yourself.
I know. But I'll put a prompt into ChatGPT that says 30-minute podcast about debt. We want to talk about blank, and it spits out an outline.
Correct.
And then we kind of riff off of that outline.
I would agree.
So use it for the time savings that it generates. Don't use it for the authority on a particular topic.
What I've seen AI help from a business standpoint, guys, is like comparing data, comparing notes, comparing information. AI is very good at being able to, something that may take you a few hours to compare legal documents and things like that. That can be done in seconds, which again, but it all comes down to prompts, right? You have to be able to tell it specific. You're still thinking like, humans can put in, their perceptions and all that expectation, or I think that's what Shawn is thinking. AI doesn't do that. AI is basically whatever you tell me, I'm going to push it right back to you in regards to those results. So I think we will get better at asking and prompting, but I think that's where I think AI takes personal and business to a next level. But you have to put in some of that work.
So I just signed up. I just pulled it here. I just signed up for a legal seminar at the beginning of the year, the end of January. Enhancing legal workflows with AI.
Nice.
A guide for attorneys.
Very nice.
So basically how to use AI in your practice, even down to ethical considerations and whatnot. So I'm kind of looking forward to that.
No, and one thing I've done with Coach Connections, the group that I'm with as well, how to use AI to have a voice around marketing and blog writing and things like that. That helps, again, because sometimes we get stuck thinking too much, and AI sometimes allows us to be able to think a little bit. Oh wow, I didn't even think of that way, and it gets your thought process going without having to feel like you're staying stuck. The other thing, last thing for AI, because AI it looks like it'll be a big thing next year. Personal finances, I've noticed people are kind of like, hey, AI, create the perfect budget. Create the, based off this, how much can I have in my food budget? Give me a meal plan. So for me as a coach, I've been trying to give my clients prompts to help you, really further some of those conversations around like, hey, I want a meal plan and this. I say, well, then let's give you the right prompt so you can put it into AI and it can give you good recipes or good this.
That's probably a great topic for a future episode.
Sure.
Is maybe to have somebody that knows a little bit about AI, or maybe you and I can come up with, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 different budget debt prompts you can put into AI. I'll work on that.
We can do that. And I mean, the good news is you have a coach who's kind of like integrating some of that in the business already. So we can definitely share with the listeners to kind of like get them going and going like, oh, okay, maybe ChatGPT or what's the other one? Copilot or Not So Scary. Where can I start? And I think just giving people the starting information to be able to be comfortable with the tool, I think is a good thing.
And here's what I also wonder, because I was one of those that was guilty and still am from time to time of using ChatGPT similar to Google.
Yep.
But the more that I use both, the more that I realize Google has a lot of AI
Well, they
within it.
have Gemini, and yep, that's correct.
So a lot of the Google searches that I put in are responded with AI. So there is some overlap there, but I get it. At the end of the day, it's the prompt you put in, it's the information you're looking for. So any other trends that you see coming up?
No, I think we covered a lot of the good ones. I think for me, self-reflection for 2026, guys. I know we had some questions before, right? So like your financial goal for 2026, what's that? What is there a habit you want to change? Is that so I want my the listeners themselves to start thinking about those. Is there Shawn, one thing, is there a lesson from 2025 that you want to carry over into 2026?
It's interesting. I think for me, getting a little bit probably too personal here for a minute, but I still kind of don't feel like I 100% have my legs under me being a solo dad.
Sure.
I still kind of feel like I'm getting into a rhythm of being a solo parent, being a solo dad, having to adjust my schedule, having to leave the office by 3:00 to pick up the boys.
Sure.
I still kind of feel like that's an issue. So I think, they say about grief that it never goes away.
Yeah.
You just learn how to process it better.
Sure. Yep.
And so I think one of my big, not goal, but maybe resolution for 2026 is going to be to incorporate the different areas of my life better. Still along that theme of alignment.
Yep.
To just kind of get used to being a solo dad.
Yep.
Get my schedule back, get my schedule straightened out, get my workflow straightened out. Maybe cut things from my life that are taking time that's not productive to replace that with things that are more, like for example, I could outsource reconciling my bank accounts.
There you go.
And that would save me, a couple hours a month.
Mm-hmm.
I could source out, if I maybe instead of an AI, maybe I get a real live person executive assistant that can go through my voicemails and can do. Maybe I'm also looking into AI. When somebody books an appointment on the calendar, that automatically gets entered. That data gets entered into my CRM. So taking some of those tasks off my plate so that more of what I do is directly related to generating revenue and less of it is dedicated to stuff that's not going to generate revenue.
I love it.
That and my big goal for 2026 is taking June off.
Okay, so a whole month.
That's my big goal for June.
We'll hold you
for
accountable.
2026.
We'll hold you accountable to that.
What about you?
So for me, I think the lessons to carry over, I think personally wise, I think it's been exercise, right? So I've started to do the exercise, be more consistent with that. So for me, that's a habit that I'm going to make sure carries over into the new year. So I think you alluded to that, and for me, business wise, right? Continued growth, all of those. I think the one thing though that I want to intentionally let go, right, is there's still a sense of like worth tied to job, or like we always think like I am my job, or I am the work that I do and stuff like that. And I want to make sure, for me, it's like I want to try and let that kind of thought process go. As you get older, it's like I'm not defined by the work I do.
Right.
I'm not defined by how much I make. I want to be defined. And the question is, what do you want to be known for?
Right.
And I just don't want to be known for those things. So I think that's one of the big let goes for 2025. And I think I just want to be known as the coolest person on this podcast. So I think that's good enough for me.
It's not a very high bar.
Well, you got to start somewhere, brother.
Not a very high bar. Coolest person on the podcast. You are the baldest person on the podcast.
All right, I thought I was liking you, but I think we're done with you now.
Well, I think that probably will do it, at least for this episode. We will kind of check back in as 2026 goes on and see how we're doing. Let us know. What are some of your resolutions? What are some of your goals? What do you want us to help hold you accountable to in 2026? Absolutely let us know. We're good to be on that journey with you. I will mention again the Patreon page, patreon.com/crushingdebt. Also, like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Share the episode with your friends. Other than that, I don't know that we've.
I would just remind folks. We talked a lot of things, for 2026. Don't put the pressure that you have to do it all at once. 2026 is still a long year. There's a lot of time. Enjoy.
It goes by quick.
It
but
does.
It's a long time.
It's still a long time, but smell the roses. Enjoy life. Enjoy the beauty of what every day can bring to you itself, and don't put the pressure of I have to get everything done on January 2nd. So that's the one thing I've noticed as well.
And don't wait until December 1 to start.
That's a good one too.
Don't wait till December 1 of 26.
26
to start 2026.
I would agree with that.
You don't have to do it all in January, but don't wait till December to start.
Don't push it till December. Got it.
Otherwise, I think that'll do it for
Love
this
it.
week's episode. I do plan to get another episode out. I know Thursdays, Christmas falls on Thursday this week, so I do plan to get another episode out. And then again, similarly, January 1 falls on a Thursday. We do plan to have content available for you for those weeks. So continue to...
Still approaching number 500. 500.
This is what, 490?
94. 6 episodes away, brother.
6 episodes away. So we'll still figure out 500 for you.
I love it.
In the meantime, I hope that you have more money at the end of the month rather than month at the end of the money. And we will talk to you in next week's episode.